Well, here we are in the shed again. Beautiful rainy day in Melbourne if you can't hear it on the roof. But this is what I'm dealing with at the moment. So still working on fitting these dual tanks. So move this out of the way. Basically, the belly tank that's under here, I don't know if you can see that, trolley jack's holding it up, isn't going to work for me. I don't know why, but it's a long-range automotive tank come out of another vehicle, second-hand, and for some reason none of the bolt holes are going to line up, and it seems to be too long for the car, for the mounts. So that's the 147 litre rear tank that's going in. But I've also got still the original belly tank that came out of the car, which is this guy here. It's full of crap inside, but today I'm going to work on cleaning that out because I've decided I'm just going to put this one back in because I know it bolts in. All these bolt holes at the subframe line up properly, I know it's just going to work. So that's today's plan. Get this tank all up and running. Alright, so that's the belly tank out of the car now. It's only held in with the ratchet strap and the trolley jack. Next I'm going to clean up the old tank that originally came out of the car. I thought it was pretty cruddy and didn't want to reuse it, which is why I got this one. But it seems this one's not going to fit, so going back to plan A, the OG. Anyway, I'll clean that up and see how we go. So I've flushed out the tank, which is going back in the car, washed it out with water first and then flushed it out with fuel over and over again with some chain in there, shook the whole tank about, try and loosen up any of the crap that's in there. So that's the tank that's going in the car, and that's the old one which I tried fitting but doesn't work too well. Anyway, I'll get cracking on this. Well, just finished up a mammoth night in the shed. I've done all the plumbing for the belly tank, the auxiliary tank. I'll be running 2 tanks, so that'll be going through a filter, then a pump into the filler neck of the main tank, which is 147 litres. That'll give me over 200 litres of fuel capacity, which I'm looking forward to because this thing drinks like a fish. I'll show you what I've been up to. Up here we've got, this is the breather line or the fast fill fuel line from the belly tank coming up to the filler neck. Just basically gives it a big gulp of air when fuel's going in. This one here running up to the other filler spout is a breather for the tank. This one here is the transfer. So
that comes from, I don't know if you can see it, that fuel filter in there runs down to the lift point of the auxiliary tank into that little fuel pump there, and then from the fuel pump into the filler neck, and that's how you transfer fuel from the belly tank into the main tank. Otherwise, I've just got to connect up another one of these guys to that filler neck. It's on the other side under there, and obviously the main filler hose, and then that tank can go in, which will be the main 147 litre tank, which I'm bloody looking forward to getting in there, to be honest. Other than that, just a little bit of wiring, run some wires for the sender for the main tank, and Robert's your mother's brother. Bloody looking forward to it. So I'll keep you updated with the progress. Alright guys, so this is filmed a few months after the initial fuel tank install. The original belly tank that was originally in the car, cleaned it all out, washed it all out, reinstalled it. You would have seen that just before. And I've hooked up the rear main tank, so that's now a 147 litre long range automotive tank with a transfer pump between the auxiliary to the main tank. I've also got that switched from the dash, and I've got another switch, so I don't have to use an auxiliary fuel tank gauge on the dash. I've now got a switch to alter, or switch between reading the auxiliary and the main tank on the factory dash cluster. So I'll show you that in a second, but for now I'll just show you this. So up here we've got all the hose connections all done and hooked up. Bit wet and watery, but you know, there's the fuel pump under there. All the hoses and connections and the wiring. The wiring I've just run under the chassis there, or on top of the chassis. Down to a plug, which then goes into a Deutsch plug and into the body, up and underneath the car. Bit hard to see under there, but if I get the car up in the air I might show you another time. As far as the transfer setup goes, I've put two switches on this side of the steering column. One's for the transfer pump, and then auxiliary fuel and main fuel tank, depending on which tank I want to see the fuel level of. At the moment, as you can see, it's on main tank, which is full. When the ignition's on, that's my transfer pump. I haven't got much in the auxiliary fuel tank at the moment. I'm just using the main tank. I'm away on a weekend. Anyway, it's all done, dusted and working, and I'm bloody stoked. It works like a charm. I'm absolutely wrapped with the whole setup. I get amazing fuel range out of it. I haven't actually tested the full range of it because I haven't been able to fill both tanks all the way up and then drain them all the way back down again. So when I get a chance to, I'll report back with the, you know, what sort of range and fuel efficiency I get. So as an average, I've worked out I get about roughly 19 litres per 100 in a combination of high country touring, not so much for low driving, but high country touring, highway driving, commuting to work. So although it's not my daily driver, it's very hard to get that kind of ratio. But anyway, this is just a recap on the finished installation, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.